let the crown stay long on the head, let the shoes stay long on the feet. I don't want to say it in Yoruba so that some people will not come and stone me because my Yoruba is not that fluent. But that's us saying that congratulations to the Ibadan people who officially have their Olu Badon of Ibadan land, who was the former governor of Oyo State back in between 2003 and of course down till 2007, if I'm not mistaken, or being between, because there was all of the whole drama of Ulster and all of that. But yes, the new Olubado of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Akomu Ladoja, His Imperial Majesty. And as we are putting crown on top of person's head and we are taking something from under somebody's feet, I don't get to walk alone on glider shoes. It is what's that word? It is something that me and Emmanuel share. That is why I wanted me and him to sit down together. Congratulations, my boss. Welcome to the L. Take it.
This kind congratulations.
Welcome to the L side of life. Ladies and gentlemen,
just once
over the weekend. And now
just once.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time this season, Liverpool finally tasted an L, and it was a very beautiful thing to behold, because I cannot be the only person that will come and drag in the studio today. Chelsea lost 3-1 at home, and Arsenal won by 2-1. Every other person was just taking. Okay, I didn't mention United. We know it's a normal thing for them, but we'll come back to that later on. It was a very, very fantastic weekend for me, because I mean, they say misery love company. I love company. I don't used to work alone. I did not work alone. No, Madrid self collects. Everybody take it. So yes, that's how we're starting the show today. And of course, you guys are the most important part of this conversation. That's why we're saying hi to you, and it's great to have you on the show today. While I was talking and making this introduction, somebody was trying to adjust the suit. Nicola, how are you feeling? How are you feeling like?
Many men wish death upon me.
Now we'll not hear this that PG.
Take my destiny.
Now you're reaping the fruit of bad decision.
Now you win the weekend.
Don't worry. Leave her for me.
They say misery loves company. People were waiting, patiently waiting. They wanted me to join in the misery, but my big Brazilian said no. Messi said no. Never. This weekend will have been bloody. To be honest, I feel like it will have been like salt upon injury for me if I lost that game.
What happened?
Because I had like a very long weekend. Not even like a long weekend per se. It was beautiful, but then Sunday was like very long for me. So Saturday, the L's were coming in, and it was food, like chef. I was like, this meal is getting tasty.
From United to Liverpool to Chelsea.
Yeah, in Ketia, you are cooking something for me in this Liverpool game, and it was not like, I just remember that it was not St. James Park, and I just comported myself because I know that everybody's jobless this weekend. As per everyone don't lose, so they know that the next target, the easy target, is for Arsenal to lose. And then for somewhere that Arsenal would always like lose, St. James Park lost like the last 3 seasons. Lost like 5 and 6 against Newcastle. They're always bullying Arsenal, and it just felt like it was going to be a very long weekend. Also, I had like a game. We had a game at the Deepo Junior Stadium that didn't hold after I spent like hours
the one
in traffic.
And
then it felt like we're going to go and play swimming pool football because the whole pitch was like flooded. A whole lot of talk about infrastructure. We can't always talk that enough. But I was just in my boss. I was just coming back, and I was just thinking about the game.
I remember that stadium when Nigeria hosted.
Do you understand? Look at under 17 in 2009. Yeah, when we were studying at 17 was one of the centers, and now after every rainfall we couldn't play. We had to like come back to Lagos, and then on my way I couldn't like stream the game because I was like tight in the bus and all of that, and I just kept seeing the stuff that they scored Arsenal 1-0, and then all of the let's not take away from the fact that this is not a you've benefited from PGMOL thing, and I feel like I wanted the Arsenal players to also call it out away from the 3 points, right? There's still so many discussions that should be had about PGMOL and their inconsistencies every week. And it's not incompetency. People say it's incompetence. I don't think it's incompetence. This is starting to look like an agenda against Arsenal, and I don't care what anybody says, 3 points or not 3 points, they could have gone in that way, and I'll still have felt like we're outdone by those referees. But then apart from that, it was a very beautiful one. I forgot I should have won like a glass here. Like I feel like I'm the bad guy of the weekend. I can't relate with you guys.
But it's to do You said to do a show.
I was supposed to be. No, to be honest, I even want to ask the viewers, guys. The way last week I stepped up in like yellow, looking all this thing. But today, guys, on a scale of 0 to 100,
yeah,
how much of a redeem usher do I look like? To be honest, that was the first question I asked Joy today.
With that blue inner shirt.
That's the first thing I asked Joy today. That on a scale of like 0 to 100, how much of a church usher do I look like? She said depending on the church. Right, so depending on the church she's talking about. If it's on a redeem, I think I would 80.
I was seeing it.
If it's like harvesters, I think I need to have some other stuff on here. But yeah, it's really good to be back. I mean, I feel like I'm so excited. I don't know how to act because I know my God never fails. And if I lost that. I also pity like a friend of mine because they will have cooked him yesterday. His roommate is like his flatmate is a Madrid fan, and then because he's an Arsenal fan, so he already he trolled everybody, trolled Chelsea, trolled Man U, trolled Liverpool, trolled Madrid because Madrid swallowed 5. And then imagine how losing they for kill him. And then everybody had lost on this thing, so it's like they would join hands like. Esprit the call.
Yeah,
join us. You don't know how to troll us now on Sunday. So yeah, it was really nice and a very nice weekend. Yeah.
But Emmanuel, how I know obviously we know that Liverpool lost, but I know you were busy over the weekend. I saw you in Abeokuta on Friday during the return leg for Remo Stars and your commentary duties, and I'm sure you were also busy yesterday with the CAF game. So how was your weekend?
Well, it was packed football across board. Just the only sour notes, the Liverpool game.
Welcome
I will take it.
It doesn't happen every time.
Unbeaten.
The only thing is that I know eat before I watch that game. And they always try chop before I watch it because that's how it's been this season. There's not been a should I say whitewashing, convincing win, just the one odd goal, apart from the opening game where we led by 4 goals.
It wasn't even a whitewash because Bournemouth came back in that game.
And that's been the story for like more than again now. Newcastle as well came from 2 goals down. Other teams as well, Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, late flurry of goals in that game. But this one was the worst Liverpool performance this season. Crystal Palace could have been 5 goals up in that first half.
I couldn't watch. I saw the highlight and it was crazy.
Saves upon saves. I said it was a poor first 45 from Liverpool. It could have been 5 goal up. At the end of the day, they didn't even deserve the points from that game based on the first 45. But I mean, like Liverpool have been doing all season, late goals to spark a comeback. But this time they
tried it with tried it again.
Nketiah of all people coming off the bench to score that goal against
why
against
did you
Liverpool.
all people?
I mean, even Arsenal fans doesn't rate Eddie Nketiah.
No, Fox in the box.
I beg you, let's push Fox in the box.
Fox in the box
because he not scored.
Your defense is in trouble. Nketiah in the room. Before I even want to ask you a question, but big shout out for the job you did over the weekend. I was streaming the Remo game with my friend. I was like, that's Emmanuel on the commentary. Like I could just like grab from the distance. So great job. But also I want to ask you, like on Liverpool level, do you feel like you guys have finally run out of luck?
No, well, maybe this was a defeat that you see that it was needed to put the team in check because you can't always rely on late goals every time. Keep on waiting for your team to do the job. For managers, it can be nervy in the end. But I think this defeat was needed. So I wouldn't call all the wins luck because sometimes you deserve the win. Based on how you fight till the very end. So I wouldn't put it down to luck. But this defeat, I think it's needed for the team to get that reality check that they haven't been at that level you expect them to be as defending champions. They've not played at that level, so it was needed. So I wouldn't say we've run out of luck.
When it reaches time to talk about Premier League, we also have to ask about Ancelotti and his post-match interviews on singling out a player.
Oh, okay.
So we'll probably talk about that.
No, I think the person that is going to get that, I'm going to spare him this week because we have a coach that we're going to talk about for singling out players on the show today, and it's not in the Premier League, so I don't want to dwell on Ancelotti for that. But let's move on from him.
Thank you for the shout out anyways. I mean, Remo Stars, they also made it interesting. The game
handled
5
business
goals across both legs. So.
And I feel like as a
like
commentator, a game that has like so much action brings out like the best thing. You've been able to like describe actions, except when it's drab, there's nothing to color, there's nothing to talk about in the game. You can't like coin words around actions and all of that. So yeah,
it's just preparations actually. Even there are some games, even if you don't get to see much goals. there are some goal mount actions you can also describe.
That's
so not
just
the
actually
score,
active
like,
game.
Just not just drab, from first minute to the 90th minute. But shout out to Remo Stars and good job they did.
Yeah, shout out to Remo Stars. Let's talk about them and of course their next. We'll get to see. We'll talk about them and their next opposition because yes, they are one of the two teams that's qualified for the next round among the 4 Nigerian teams on the continent. We have 2 there. 2 have qualified for the next round and 2 are coming back home.
At home.
Yeah, they are home. No, one was away.
2 has gone through in the CAF Champions League.
I'm saying like I wanted to say 2 of them are coming back home, but one was playing away from home. That's Abia Warriors. Yeah, so we'll talk about them later on in the show. But before we go on a quick break, let's talk about another manager who a lot of people used to talk about the fact that it was luck, and this season he and his team were tested. But do you think that's I'll start with Mikolo. Do you think that Simone just reminded everybody that he's still that guy and can still compete with the top 2 in the La Liga?
I think it was a great game for them. They're always going to be in the discussions. They've just been very unlucky with I think Simeone has been very unlucky with the generation that is common for Atleti. I feel like he's turned things around. He's just not been able to like get hands on the trophy. But I feel like generally it's still been like an amazing career for him, especially with the fact that he's competing against the 2 big powerhouses in the La Liga. And therefore every time there's like a slip up between those 2 sides, he's always been there to like take a pounce. He's won 2 league titles. Unfortunately, he's not being able to call the Champions League his own because of that man Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid. But I think for Simeone, he's always going to be a threat to you, no matter what team he takes control of. And then I think he showed that over the weekend as well, that he could still go pound for pound against the big boys in the league. He's always going to cause them problems. And I think this as much as this was a very big masterclass performance by Atletico Madrid as well as Simeone and maybe the likes of Julian Alvarez, I feel like he also cast a shadow on Xabi Alonso and his team. I feel like just like Liverpool, they've also like had like a fairy tale start to the season, and it's looking like everything is looking on well. It's adapted so perfectly well. So probably this is like a reminder to show that welcome to La Liga. Things are not really that rosy yet. You've been scaling through by your attacks. The likes of Kylian Mbappe has been stealing all of the shine, performing every game in scoring goals here and there, and has been getting the points for them. But this is a point where once you're not able to score, what's going on with your defense? And have you guys been able to like rectify what's going on in your midfield and your defense? And I feel like that's like the exposure, that's the exposed what Madrid were lacking in that game. And therefore Simeone, especially Julian Alvarez, very great game for them. I feel like it was a statement win for them. It was a win that also shows that if you guys are thinking that you can just come into the league and not play up to your power or play according to your best, we're always going to be there to take the scraps of you guys and maybe also give a shout for the league and all of that. So a big shout out to Diego Simeone. He's still that guy every time, every day, and I feel like what he's done for Atletico Madrid gives him a shout to be like one of their best coaches ever in the history of the club.
Okay, talking about best coach ever, reminder that he has won multiple trophies with this Atletico side. Maybe not as regularly in the league because of those two La Ligas. Two Super Cups,
runners-ups in the Champions League, Copa del Rey. I don't think he has anything to prove. Is there as well?
The what's it called? That's the Europa League also. He has won the Europa League with Atletico Madrid twice, actually. Twice. So yes, is someone that will give you trophies, but a lot of people complain maybe because of the kind of
pragmatic style of play,
style of football that he is his own ideology, and that's that for Simeone. But let's go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about other coaches, because this is a show where we are going to be looking at every coach that you are thinking about. I know the names of the coaches you want us to talk about, so yes, we'll be talking about them. Stay on the show and we'll be back after this quick break. Yeah, welcome back. It's great to see that you're still on the other side of my camera, and this is time to talk about the fact that as you're watching the show, we have freebies for you on the show. And freebies because if you are seeing your screen right now, you can see that you stand a chance to get a 200 Naira welcome bonus on BetWGB when you sign up and you place your bets. As games are going on like this over the weekend, if you had the mind, if you get liver and you're able to place bet and say, okay, Crystal Palace will beat Liverpool, you'd have been smiling right now. But another week you get to do it again. We'll continue this week. We go again this week. There are more games to go, so don't waste that chance. Get to register and use our promo code gliders. When you use that promo code, you get 200% bonus and you start to bombard. Cook. And let's go back to cooking. Talking about coaches, but before we come back to the EPL, let's go to the Serie A and talk about AC Milan. Now, AC Milan is top of the log right now. I would have loved to talk to Timothy about it, because I know that's where his mind. But let me talk to Emmanuel about it. AC Milan are cooking now. What exactly is going on in that team? Because I mean, not just for the fact that they are top of the table, but when you watch them play, you see that they have something going in for them. And with the kind of players they have, you won't expect too much. I was not expecting too much from them. I know it's the early days, but what they've been able to prosecute with the old guards, the likes of Luka Modric, who has gone there right now, and they're doing so well at the start of the season. What exactly is Allegri cooking with that team? Remember that he is a Serie A great with what he has done in the Serie A over the years with different teams.
Well, looking at Allegri and AC Milan, I think first thing, he's got experienced players in the ranks as well. I mean, they are, like you said, they are joint top in the Italian Serie A. After that, I think they had a defeating start to the season where they lost surprisingly to Cremonese. Ever since, it's been wins after wins after wins. And when you've got a manager like Allegri, who's experienced, he knows the league, he knows some of the players, and the experience as well with the youth as well. He's blended that team really well. Pulisic now is firing. Pulisic is one player, if he can stay fit, he can always give something to the team. I mean, we know him during his time at Chelsea, injury worries here and there as well, and now he's got some couple of games under his belt as well. Just 5 games into the season, still early days, but for what you can see so far from what Allegri has done, you could see that the players have really bought into his ideas. Looking at the midfield, Luka Modric, even though he's old, but you needed that presence, that experienced presence in the midfield. They've also gone the young Fofana as well, who was signed from Monaco, doing so well in that midfield as well. So in the defense, they've got some players who's been there before, who knows the terrain. Tomori is also there. So across board, the whole team, he's been able to keep them fit. They understand his philosophy. I mean, he's won the league as well. So such managers will always bring something good to any side he comes across. So joint top of the league, impressive win against Napoli over the weekend.
5 straight wins as well.
Your fellow title contenders, and after that defeat on the match they won, it's been wins after wins after wins. So deserve to be on top of the log, and Allegri has done so well. But like I said, I want to see him after the first 10 games. Good start, 5 games into the season, but let's see what the next 5 will bring. But so far on paper, looking at what he's done, I think he's steadied the ship really well at Milan. The AC Milan, we know they are one of the traditional teams, not just in Italy, across the world. You want to see them getting results across, not just in the league, in the Champions League as well. And this is a manager who's done it before, who knows what he's doing, who knows his onion very well in the job.
The Champions League.
So the first 5 games, decent starts, but I want to see what the next 10 game will bring. That's when we can say, okay, we are truly into the season proper, in my own opinion. So that's what I think.
Okay, I think 5 games is still really early to determine in a top league like that, especially for contenders, but not for relegation based people. And we'll talk about that in another league. I don't want to talk about it yet. Let's move on to another manager. Next manager on our radar is Enzo Maresca. Now, what can be done to salvage Chelsea's season, because before it is too late? And do you agree with people who think that Enzo Maresca is a championship level manager with the way he has handled the games? We talked about the way he handled that United game last week, the way he handled the game, this last one also against Brighton this weekend. Do you think that Enzo Maresca's level is not at that level where Chelsea should be in terms of managers?
I think that's a hasty conclusion. I don't think it's that straightforward here to say, oh, he's a championship level manager. I mean, this is someone that still won the club World Cup over the summer. I mean, masterminded all of that up onto the final, defeated a very tactically astute Enrique in the final, easily. Do you understand? It wasn't very close and all of that. So I feel like probably it's just like very emotional and reactionary for me, and that's what we complained about in the game against Manchester United after the red card. Made so many changes and just like switched the game on its head. needed, and I feel like that could have been avoided. But I feel like it's still very too early to say that maybe he should be sacked or then throw Chelsea into a chaos of trying to look for a manager again. I feel like for the very first time in a long while after the Abramovich era, we finally seen some stability to Chelsea. They are competing at the top level again, made it back into the Champions League, and you need a coach that is able to make those decisions. And I feel like for now, I mean, maybe after a season you can say, okay, we want to go to the next level. But if you found someone that has at least stabled the ship this well, it's not like the money has not been there. The money has been there even before now. The likes of Todd Bowley, they spent lots of money over the last couple of years, and they've not been able to get at least this form of stability. It's only Maresca that has come into the side and at least stabled the ship in a way, give the players some playing chances, brought the likes of Joao Pedro, unleashing them, Neto on the left, Joao Pedro and a lot of these guys are performing well. So it's just one of those things. I feel like it was probably tactically outcoached against Brighton, and that could happen. I mean, it happens from time to time as well that managers get outcoached in games. The one that is probably his fault, the game I'm going to fault him for, is the United one, because I don't think tactically, I don't think Ruben Amorim can outcoach anybody. Even when I was the coach of MD19 in my uni, like I probably outcoach.
So if we put you and Amorim now side by side, now
I'm going to outcoach him. Trust me, I don't need to go to NIS. I don't need to go to NIS for that. So I feel like that's the only bleep for me in Enzo Maresca so far. I feel like it's probably just reactionary. The fact that they've probably lost games back to back now, and now it's not looking like, oh, fans are now starting to react. But I feel like going from the level he picked Chelsea from to the level that they are right now, I don't think a championship level manager will do that. We've seen that over the years. The likes of Chelsea, even the likes of United have brought in how many coaches now? They've not been able to even compete for top 4 back to back. United have not won 2 games on the bounce. I mean, so those are the kind of coaches that you can say, oh, probably they are championship level manager. But Enzo Maresca is not that. He's done so well. We've seen some very good tactics. Fine, it was reactionary against United. Should have won that game. But then, I mean, it happens. Brighton is always going to be a tough fixture for Chelsea as well. I think Brighton have also won Chelsea in the last how many games back to back. They posted the stats that they're unbeaten against Chelsea in a very long while. So I don't think it is a Enzo Maresca thing. It is a Brighton versus Chelsea thing, and it happens sometimes. There are some teams that are boogeying men like that they just cause you problems. We've seen the likes of Ismail Assar always scoring against Liverpool as well, Newcastle against Arsenal. That's why the jubilation is that much. So Brighton has always been that team for Chelsea as well. They're always going to cause problems.
3 games on the bounce
without losing to Chelsea. So it happens. I think losing Maresca now throws the Chelsea project into another bit of disarray. And I don't think, as much as we are trying to banter out, I don't think Chelsea wants to be in that situation any longer. Just like Arsenal, when Arsenal fans start calling for the head of Arteta and all of that. I mean, things can go from 100 to 0 real quick. All of this success, keeping in the top 5, keeping in the top 6, can go back to 15th in a jiffy, and you're fighting back with Manchester United and Wolves.
How many players have Chelsea signed from Brighton again?
Brighton, from Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton, they are good customers.
No. But they end up getting beat. There
was an interview where the owner of Brighton said that Chelsea is good customers.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, you have to cut Chelsea some slack in that game. They were red carded.
Now that's where I'm coming to you on that. Do you think there's a wave of indiscipline going on at Chelsea right now? Back-to-back games, back-to-back red cards for Chelsea, and also we also saw the fact that even after they considered a goal against, or the 2 goals they considered against, not United, against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. At some point, it looks as if Chelsea has steadied the ship, but 1 or 2 rash decisions cost them that game. Do you think there's something going on that we are not seeing on the surface in terms of discipline in that Chelsea side right now?
Well, in terms of this, sometimes these situations are not easy to tell, because sometimes refereeing decisions can be so inconsistent, especially in the Premier League with what we're seeing now with PGMOL and stuff like that. But it's something beyond Maresca's control when it comes to
you think he's the manager?
I don't think it's something he can control, because sometimes the players on the pitch tends to go into these challenges without sometimes not everything you need a manager to tell you. As a player, you need to know that, okay, I need to know when to go into these challenges, I need to know when to go into these tackles and all that. Like I said, some can be debatable, because refereeing decisions can be inconsistent, but I don't think there's any discipline issue. They are just on a rough patch at the moment when it comes to those red carding decisions as well. So I don't think it has anything down to do with a general discipline issue with Chelsea. It's just unfortunate that it's been happening, and it really cost them a lot this weekend, because I mean, when you play at home, you don't want to get red carded, and you don't want to lose in such a way against a team like Brighton, a team that you go on to sign their players and they come to your home and end up getting the result against you as well.
Give them players for 3 points.
But talking about Enzo Maresca, at first, to be honest, just to take you back, I didn't see his appointment coming, because I mean, he has just won the championship with Leicester.
Yeah.
So you could understand why people are saying he's a championship manager at best, and all that. You know, it's always going to be a high step up from Leicester to a club like Chelsea, who's got that history.
Especially because Leicester, we are not in the EPL.
We're not in the EPL,
a direct transfer
and I think who did he replace at Chelsea? Was it Pochettino, Enzo Maresca?
Yes, Pochettino.
So you're replacing a manager like Mauricio Pochettino as well. So the step up was always huge, and it's making people now to see this run to the Club World Cup as a one-off.
But I think
as just a one-off and stuff like that. Di Matteo had that run, won the Champions League with Chelsea, and if people felt he's not that A-list manager and all that. So maybe people are beginning to see that with Maresca at this point.
Okay, I think I agree with two of you, and I think that I want to also chip in something about the Club World Cup. I think that people are forgetting that apart from the Club World Cup, he also won the Conference League unbeaten. Went on to actually take Chelsea to the Champions League by qualifying for the Champions League without going through the back door. So I think people are always forgetting that part from him, that this is a manager that took you back to the Champions League. Where Pochettino himself, who was an A-list manager, could not do it. Got there, but was outsmarted by who did it to him? It was United. United used the FA Cup to go through that door, and of course we are relegated to play the Conference League, and United went through the back door and went to the Europa League, where Chelsea had already qualified for, based on this finishing understanding. So Chelsea fans, please, you guys should calm down. I know,
and the injuries as well.
The injuries also.
I think too many young players in some key areas in that Chelsea team. You know, in the forward line, I know there's João Pedro. I think he's been the only signing that has really sparked up, that has really clicked here for Chelsea.
For
them, the back line, the experience is lacking. There's no real leader in that defensive line for Chelsea. Sanchez has been shaky in goal and all that. Up top, I mean, Estevao is still young. Cole Palmer has been in and out due to injuries.
And it's going to be out for I think like 6 weeks.
So it doesn't.
No, sorry, not 6 weeks.
I think it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Actually,
so, it doesn't get any easy for Chelsea, because I mean, there's a returning Jose Mourinho this midweek in the Champions League as well. So the result needs to start coming, because Chelsea can, you know, the owners they've got, they can pull the plug at any time. If it happens, I feel it will be too early. But results needs to turn around in the next couple of years.
Results need to turn around for him. Now let's talk about results turning around and another manager. Now, we already know that this person is not going to, or according to what he said, he's not going to change his philosophy for anybody, and it's going to be that way, and they'll continue to do. But Man United are also at fighting a dilemma, because if they get to sack him, they'll have to pay him, I think, £50 million.
Money no be problem.
Do you really think money no be a problem for United that had to cut a lot of expenses last season? I think the only thing that they did that showed that they still had money was the renovation that they did. But apart from that, last season we saw a lot of things getting cut, and even some things you not expect from a top club. We saw the players getting somehow stranded at the train station, pictures from that particular part. And I think there's one that I always love football Twitter for, where they showed talked about Garnacho when he was still there, going with there was the request that United wanted,
I think I saw something like that,
wanted Garnacho to go in the plane of the Ballon d'Or with the plane of Man City when they were going for
this stuff too.
Guys, you guys kill me. You guys kill me. So yes, there's all of that from last season. So do you think that at this point in time, Man United can attempt to sack Maresca, to sack Amorim right now? And if they cannot sack him, how long do you think Amorim can still get away with this thing he's doing, this Robin Hood act of taking from the rich and giving to the poor?
I think I tweeted it after the win against Chelsea that United were going to lose their next game. Actually. I mean, it was very predictable, considering the fact that they've not won 2 in a row in how many months?
And that guy is still. I'm always forgetting that part.
The guy that
says he's going to barb his hair. It started from February 2024. He says he's not going to cut his hair.
Until United win 2 games in a row.
And you know how fast their hair grew.
Yeah.
So from imagine a Briton not cutting his hair from February 2024 till this very moment. In his mind, he did not know it was going to go this long.
2 games in a row.
So he said 5 in a row.
5.
Yes, it's 5.
Okay, 5.
Manchester United has to win 5 games in a row, and they've not been able to win 2 in a row for a very long time.
I think at this point, it will probably become Samson in the Bible, because his hair will get very. He should start getting braided. He should just start braiding.
Or he should start selling the hair. Oh my hair.
He cannot cut it now.
He
cannot cut it. Maybe eventually when they win 5, but I don't know when that is going to happen. 5 in a row, that's outrageous for this current Manchester United side. But for United, I honestly I've tried to figure out what the problem is, away from like banter, away from like trying to like throw them. I've tried to figure out what the problem is over time, but I've still not been able to see. Look at Manchester United. Look at Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford has gone back to life at Barcelona, created an assist.
Højlund also left.
Do you understand? So Højlund is also like McTominay won the MVP. That is you see that McTominay thing, right? If I was a motivational speaker, there should be like a book around that. You know, when they say the way they see you, environment matters a lot. McTominay in Manchester United was painted as if it was a low budget whatever it is, like even the low budget Diaby.
Funny enough, he was always one of those players
and all of that.
One thing that actually gets me like confused is at the end of the day, he was one of their best performers even
during
at
their
period,
lowest.
Coming up with important goals and all that.
Yeah, but the problem is the United fans always find a way to like scapegoat players, and they do that every year. It has gone from McTominay to Rashford to Garnacho. I think now is Dalot. If Dalot is on the bench, it's probably Casemiro. It was Onana at the point as well. So they always try to like go around without looking at what the issues were. This is the same Manchester United fans that backed a Ten Hag over Cristiano Ronaldo, over his tactics. Now where is Ten Hag? Ten Hag that was getting sacked after 2 days or after 2 games with Bayern Leverkusen. You backed that over the greatest of all time in my books. So basically, I feel like for Manchester, I've tried to figure out what the problem is. I don't know. So I just feel like eventually, I feel like my advice would be like to just wait it out, right? You can't keep sacking managers without and doing the same things. You've bought players, you've sacked managers, you've changed a lot of things. So basically, you should just probably try to wait it out, right? Just see where this goes. But the only problem now is that in the process of trying to see where it goes, there's no any form of encouragement that's coming from Ruben Amorim, right? The first time I checked my Twitter one time, and I see like the first game I saw of Mikel Arteta at Arsenal finished that season in 8th position. Arsenal were on a losing streak, but that first half that I saw was one of the best coached first half I'd seen for Arsenal in a very long while. And I remember tweeting it. Arsenal eventually lost that game, but the way they were trying to play, it didn't have the players then to play the game, right? But for Manchester United, is way different, right? Even after buying the players, even after getting the players, they still can't seem to like enforce their tactics. They can't seem to like enforce the way they want to play on these players. And now it's now looking like, is it the players? Is it the coach, or is it just the club as itself? Is it like there's no, are there occurring underneath issues that are going on with this club that we don't see in the everyday? Are they trying to enforce players on him? Is it the coach that is just, I don't think you can say that the coach doesn't just know what he's doing. I don't think it is that straightforward. His style is not working. He should try to adapt his style to the Premier League. You can say that, but also it just goes beyond that, right? Because even players on themselves, when they go on the pitch of play, even if your coach gives you a wrong tactics, I feel like eventually you can still try to like do something on the field of play that just shows that you're a world-class player, shows that you're playing for a Manchester United kind of level. You don't see that. I feel, is it not worrisome for you as a player that you're not winning 2 games in a row for over how many months? So I feel like I don't know what I want them to do. I feel like I enjoy the banter. I enjoy the role that they happen. I think I quoted somebody with Exodus 13 verse 24 or something. That is where the one that said that we'll visit the sins of the father on the child. And I feel like that's what I want right now. The sins of Sir Alex Ferguson. Let them continue to revisit it on Manchester United. You go trophyless for as far as you want. But on an analytical situation, I really do not know what's going on with Manchester United.
The thing is, you can't even come to his defense. That's just the thing, because there's nothing you can pin Amorim on and say, okay, at least there's a small progress in this part of the game.
I mean, for Arteta, not winning trophies, you can point to the
you
fact
could
that
see,
they are
but for
competing.
Amorim, you can't. I mean, 9 games out of 33 games in the Premier League, that's sackable for a club like Manchester United. You've got no European football this season, so a lot of people felt, okay, one competition, 1 game per week,
except lost out in the FA Cup
and all that. So you I mean, Grimsby Town.
Imagine losing to Grimsby Town.
No, what I'm saying is he has
there's nothing to defend him.
For Chelsea played midweek in the FA Cup. For we saw United. Wolves and other teams also play midweek. United has been relieved of that stress. So all you need to focus on is the
games.
The Premier League.
So what have you been doing in training?
Everything he's done, it's sackable. So if they pull the plug, you wouldn't fault Ineos for
guys, I saw this stats online. I think I sent it to Kay. I don't know if he's going to put it up. They said Sunderland have 11 points. Manchester United have had 12 points since the start of April. April was last season. Right? Sunderland started playing in the Premier League in August. So what do you mean that a team that came from relegation
has more points than you? They have 11 points. United have had 12 since the start of August. So where do you want to start from? What do you want to start from as the issue? Because if Sunderland can pick up points, 11 points already, they're having like a fairy tale run with the tired legs of Granit Xhaka as the one leading the charge. What then would you say of United?
I mean, we know managers always take the fall. We know the players as well should take some of the responsibilities.
Some players also take the fall.
But
I'm saying that actually, like some players have already taken the fall over the last summer.
Yes, they've let them go.
Yes, now they've benched Zegzi, they've sold Oiland, they've left McTominay go, they've let Onana go, they've loaned Garnacho. They've done like so many. So what exactly is the issue? And they've got Ugarte.
They've gotten new owners as well. So I think the manager has to go. He has to go because the results are not even backing him up.
And when he goes, don't you think they are going to go back to
that's another thing now. That's my fear.
And then Amorim, because Ten Hag was let go at this point in the season, last season. Amorim came in and everybody says, "Oh, let's manage him, give him time, let him do his pre-season, let him get his own players," and we are back to this place.
So you go pre-season, you go how many months training players, and you can't get you are getting 12 points since start of April.
No consecutive wins in the Premier League since you came.
That is,
and what we are hearing now, if he's being let go of the job, Gareth Southgate, these are managers. We hear that they're favorites in the mix. Amen. As well.
Actually.
So are you any confident that Manchester United would appoint a manager that you could look and say, okay, this guy is going to bring success to United moving forward? So that's another thing. How many managers are out there, looking for jobs who you think could go to United and do the job? There are not many out there right now as it stands. I can't remember anyone at the top of my head. Zidane has been long gone since he left his last job.
I feel like
we don't know what's happening with him. We don't know what's happening. Which other manager I want to look at? Mauricio Pochettino is with the national team with USA. Who else do you want to go look at? Gareth Southgate is the favorite for the job. So letting go of Amorim, who are you going to appoint to come, steady the ship if he goes? So it's a whole lot for United. But if you ask me, the manager has to go because the results are not backing him up. I feel the players will be, murmuring amongst themselves like this is not working. If he just tweak something or change something, because it happens in football. Players as well tend to, just influence the decision of the club and all that. So he has
that
to
with
go.
Chelsea and
it happens everywhere.
I mean of recent, so that with Chelsea and Conte, when the players were not happy with what he was doing. The owners had to bow to pressure at that point in time, and Conte was sacked despite just winning the league the season before with Chelsea. So yes, that is a lot. I understand. Manchester United fans, my heart is not with you. You are going through a lot. My heart is not with you. I'm not going to lie.
Long may you continue.
I did not say my own point blank like that. It's the one that said it point blank. But if you're watching the show and you have Manchester United friends, hug them. They are going through a lot. Me, I cannot give people. I have people in mind. Hopefully this continues because there's something I want to do.
How did they defeat Chelsea do in that game? Like,
no, don't worry. I understand it. This, like Mikolo said, Chelsea has to lose so that Amorim can keep his job. I have a mission to achieve this Halloween, and you guys will play a very big big part to it. So stay tuned. Hopefully, Amorim wins next week so that they'll keep him another week.
Yes, so
keep doing
one day off, one day on.
One day off. But
We can take that.
You talk about Sunderland. That's the next game at Old Trafford, though. So United, Sunderland.
Sunderland will surrender points for the good of all of us. So yes, guys.
So United cannot even have a fixture now. And
you
be
confidently
confident
say
of winning.
that you
No, this one they win. This one they win this one easily.
They've fallen so off that you can. United fans are saying
the last win before Chelsea, they struggled to win because the last minute, it was the penalty that actually gave them that
Brentford is our next
game.
We're sure it's going to be difficult. I mean, United, how are you?
It's been a lot. Anyways, guys, before we go to the next part of talking about league football, but we're going to talk about Champions League football, and the Champions League football we're going to talk about is going to be in Africa. But before then, let's go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to strategize, talk about people that are doing well, people that have not done well, and where we move from here, because from here on is serious business in football for us in the country. So yeah, stick around, guys. And we are back, and like I said, if you are just tuning in on the show, pick up your phone like me, go on the platform right now, sign in, use our promo code gliders, and you get 200 naira welcome bonus instant tap. No mago. We are not Amorim. We don't do things like this. We go straight to the point.
We are not PJ Noel.
We are not. We go straight to the point. I will give you what you deserve. And talking about deserved win for Remo Stars over the weekend. Weekend started from Friday. It was early on for Remo Stars on the continent. They played on Friday against Zuluju, and they got a 1-0 win at home. That same venue hosted Kwara United on Sunday. Kwara United got the opposite of that result while chasing the fixture on aggregate, because they lost 3 goals to 4 or 4 goals to 3 when they went over to Accra to play Asante Kosoko. That's the Ghanaian side in the CAF Confederations Cup. They are in 2 different competitions, by the way. And now Remo Stars in Abeokuta progressed to the next round of that's the second round of the preliminary stage of the CAF Champions League, and they'll get to face Mamelodi Sundowns. While Kwara United, they're done with their run on the continent, and that goes. But we have talking points from those 2 sides. Remo Stars going against Sundowns. Guys, do you think this is possible? I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, that's the end of the road." But do you think it's actually possible, especially you who love the South African League so much? Do you think that this Sundowns side is beatable based on how much you've seen Remo Stars also this season? The new Remo, I like to call them the new Remo Stars because it's like a huge chunk of the team that we've known over the years have finally been fizzled out, moved to different stages, maybe out of the country, some to other teams. They've gone to for a different challenge. That was the word I'll use for most of those players. So now it's a new Remo Stars side that are persecuting the continent for the first time. This is not the first time on the continent, but this side is the first time that many of them are actually playing as a unit for Remo Stars. Do you think that they can actually defeat Sundowns in the next round?
It's football. First, I'll start on maybe you might want to say I'm being on the fence here.
It's sounding aspire. It's already giving aspire to Maguire. It's football. Anything can happen.
Nothing is impossible, I would say. But I mean, the biggest game since Remo Stars inception, if you ask me, Mamelodi Sundowns, because
bigger than as far.
Now this is the second stage. The second preliminary round.
This is the first time that they are going into
the first preliminary round. So biggest game since the club's inception. So I think they can't wait for that. But before that game, they've still got some league games to prosecute. So I know Coach Daniel Ogumodede, I mean, is always one game at a time before you look at that Sundowns game. So I think they have like 2-3 games before.
They have one against Abia Warriors away this midweek, and then another home game.
Before the Mamelodi Sundowns game. So like I said, nothing is impossible. But I mean, coming up against a team like Mamelodi Sundowns, defending champions of the PSL in South Africa, it's a tough game.
It's champion versus champion.
Champion versus champions. And I like what Remo Stars did in these 2 games against Zuluju. I think they didn't underrate the opposition. They didn't underrate. They didn't look down on the opponents.
And they didn't do let's score one in this first leg and we'll finish it.
I feel like when you
leg.
catch somebody that you can beat them well.
Beat them, but
and do it early.
But you could feel in the game, like you could see that these players, they didn't rest on their laurels, despite the fact that they were 4 goals up in the first leg, and knowing that the 2 games will be played in Abeokuta. So they the preparation was 100%. And I mean, no doubt Zilimaju champions in their own right, 4 times champions of Comoros, back-to-back titles before this game, back-to-back seasons they are in Nigeria in this same stage of CAF competition, and they've conceded the most goals this time. They conceded just twice against Rangers last time they were in Nigeria, and now they conceded 5 across 2 legs against Remo Stars. So good job for Remo Stars, and I love the kind of signings they've made. You talked about them losing key players. If you look at the spine of the team, they lost some key players. Kayode Bankole is no more there in goal, even though Obasa has been the mainstay in the last recent games. At the heart of the defense, Nduka Junior he left as well. Leonard, maybe he's been the one handed with the responsibility to fill the shoes. Ebuka Anthony is also there in midfield as well. Adedayo Olamileko, now the new captain of the side as well. Alex Oyowa seems to want to step up, and they've gotten players across the continent who've got experience as well in CAF competitions. They brought Goita and Koulibaly from Malian teams as well. In the Champions League, I think they bought one Liberian from Rivers United, Mark Gibson. This is a guy who's also played in the CAF Champions League as well. So Obasa is from Benin Republic. He's got national team experience as well. So across board, I love the job Remo Stars they've done. They know what's at stake. They know they want to go on better. And this is the first time they go into the stage as champions. The last time they were in the continent just as runners up. So if they could do it this time as champions of the NPFL, it's going to be a huge statement. Not for sentimental reasons. Now I want them to make it past Sundowns, but I mean it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We know a lot will come into play. I mean, Mamelodi Sundowns, the team from South Africa, people have started, drawing those conspiracies now. The CAF president also from South Africa. How on earth would you play the CAF Champions League?
Especially because they are playing at home
Mamelodi
first.
Sundowns, Remo Stars playing Abeokuta first, and then they travel
to South Africa.
South Africa. I would have loved them to play the first leg in Ikene if it's going to be ready, but right now I'm not so sure if Ikene will be ready for that game. But I would have loved the first leg to be in Ikene. But I mean, it's game of football. But one thing I can say confidently now is it's going to be an interesting watch. I wish I could be in South Africa as well for the reverse fixture, but I'll definitely be in Abeokuta for the first leg. So interesting game to look forward to. But just before that game, still league games to persecute, and when we get there, we'll see what happens in that game against Sundowns.
When we get there, we'll see what happens. Let's talk about the other team that progressed. Abia Warriors lost yesterday by a goal to 0. The first leg was 1-1 in Uyo, which means they've been knocked out. So we don't have any team in the Confederations Cup anymore because Kwara United and of course Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors lost out.
So it's not every time they say come and play in my home, you will come. If you can't tell somebody to pass, you say come to my house, you go meet for your house. They'll be beauty for your house too.
Yes, and the other team that qualified, as a lot of us predicted, was definitely going to be Rivers United, a 1-0 win. I mean, they've not been scoring a lot of goals this season, but they're actually unbeaten in every competition this season, Rivers United. And yesterday in Uyo, a 1-goal win was enough for them to be 1-0 win was enough for them to be able to qualify for the next round, which is something that they are actually used to doing. They know how to prosecute themselves when it concerns continental competitions, and right now they've moved on to the next stage of that. But that's not where we're going to talk about, because I think everyone knew that Rivers United was going to qualify, almost like going to qualify. I want us to dwell on a bit on the back and forth of coaches in that Kwara United game. Now, Kwara United's coach, Sani talked about the fact that he's expecting Kosoko to come to Nigeria, and then he's going to teach them a lesson. Not the exact word he used, but that was kind of the message that was painted in his post-match conference when they lost in Ghana. And then yesterday, after the Kwara United lost in Abeokuta by a goal to 0, Asante Kosoko's coach came out to say that he heard all of that and then he felt like the coach was not being magnanimous in defeats and was passing snide comments and saying that they lost Kiniko, and all of that was why he decided that they would come to, if they had played for a draw, they would have still qualified, but they went on to outplay Kwara United and actually beat them at home in Nigeria. do you think that it's the comments made by Kwara United, by Kwara United's coach was actually over the bar? Because now people are saying, when it was last week, people are actually judging. This is the comments on your screen, the comments from the Asante Kosoko's coach. But last week, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, that's the comment that was made was in confidence, just him trying to boost the confidence of the team coming to Nigeria." But right now, do you think that with what he said right now, do you think Sani went overboard with what he said? Also, remember that he also in the post-match conference yesterday, he kind of was shifting blame, went off, and also shifting blame to his players. Do you think that he was shifting blame to his players, saying that his players should have won that game yesterday, but they wasted chances, all of that. And actually, he went off. I don't want to use the word he used on air. He went off when he was asked a question by the pressman. Do you think his comments were snide? That's the word I want to use. Where you think was snide in the first leg? Because that was what got him what he got in the second leg.
I think there are two different scenarios. The second leg definitely snide comments, but the first leg I feel like it was, within his right to have said that, that's what makes the sport fun, to say, oh, today was like very close, because to be honest, if you remember the first leg, they were going back and forth with the goal scoring, and Asante Kosoko only like edged them. At the point it was 3-2, it was 3-3, and then they were scoring back and forth goals, and then it was really close. It was unlike what we saw in Abeokuta this weekend, where Asante Kosoko felt like they were on top of proceedings for a very large chunk of the game. For the one that they played in Ghana, for the first leg in Ghana, I felt like Kwara United held their own ground, and I feel like it was in his right to say, you know what, if we could do this to you in your home ground, there's a very possibility that when you come to play us in our home, we'll definitely be able to stand our own ground. So I feel like for what he said in the first leg, I don't think it was really bad. It was just like what he said was that it was a very close game in Asante. He said it in the Pidgin language, like, oh, God saved them today. This is like normal, typical Nigerian lingua of God saved us today, but don't worry, when you come my house, you could come face your own. So I feel like there was nothing snide about the fact that saying, we see the likes of, Gabriel even said it to Alan last season about the fact that they got the draw to die. We'll be waiting for them in our home, and eventually it works for them. And everybody called Gabriel a monster for having the mentality to come and win 5-1 against Manchester City at home after saying that in the first leg. If Kwara United had gone ahead to win that game and proceed, would have called Tunde Sani
so you just feel like
a mentality monster. To say that, that comment was a very nice one, and he followed through with what he said to them. But for the fact that they eventually lost, everybody that wants to come for his head now can also come for his head. And I feel like probably he should have waited for the comments to make it after they qualified to the next round. Probably would have been more saved. For him, I feel really disappointed with their performance, especially after the fact that we thought that they were one of the teams that got a very decent result away, and also not just the result, also the performance.
But the performance,
I feel like the performance first leg was even better than the performance at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abeokuta over the weekend. So I feel like if they have probably played as much as they did, because they scored very good goals in Ghana last week, and you just felt like if they had done better with this one, they could have gotten ahead. Very disappointing one for them. I've seen so many press conferences. I've seen the part where they say probably if they played in Ilorin, they probably have had more people, but Abeokuta people also came out for them. I've seen Remo Stars fans that also came out. Nigerian Football Fraternity also came out to support them, because eventually when we are going to the continent, it's not just MPFA where you're supporting your team. It's also more about our coefficient, about our representatives on the continent. So I believe that people always want to support them, and I was even streaming the game as well, but I just felt like they didn't really play as much as they should. For Tunde Sani, first leg justified comments, second leg probably went too off the point because of the fact that he was trying to shift blame to his players, or his players didn't want the best, or something about that. So I feel like he could have done better. And also the point where he was asking the journalist that the question that he asked was stupid and all of that, and I feel like that's overboard. We have to have, I feel like we should represent
Monday or DJ sick.
We need to there should be a respect for the 12th man. I believe that in a sane system, it should be sanctioned for that. You don't say that on air, even as much emotions. This is just the capture. This is the first stage of the preliminary. There are people that lose the finals of the World Cup, lose the finals of the Champions League, and they still have to address the press in their post-match press conference. So definitely, I don't think this is not the highest stage. If there's tension in your body and they're asking you that, does this result warrant warrants a sackable? Is it a sackable offense? Yes, I mean it's a valid question.
A valid question
because eventually some of the signings that you made, some of the funds that were released, but because of this CAF tournament, the kind of spending, the kind of renovations that went on with their stadium would definitely,
even though they eventually did not get to play there.
Even though they did eventually use it, I think one of the motivation coming into the season was the fact that he qualified for the CAF Confederations Cup. So if this is one of our core reasons why we gave you money, why we gave you players to sign players for this competition, and then you got 4-3 away and now came to lose on your own ground 1-0, we have every right to question you. We have every right to tell you that, do you feel like this is a sackable offense? And who more to ask those questions than members of the press? So I don't see how that is a question that is out of place. You have failed in one of the key reasons. You are not going to win the league. I don't think anybody is expecting you to go ahead and win the NPFL. Nobody's setting a target of winning the NPFL for you. But I feel like they will have set a target to say, can we beat Asante Kosoko and get to the next round? We know how much is down from CAF that's given after every win in every stage that you get. So I feel like the club management, the government already have plans on that. If we are giving you, it's more like an investment. If I was an investor, if I was a sponsor for Kwara United, you think I'm not going to ask you that question? That do you feel like you should get sacked after you've wasted my money getting to just the first round and losing at home by 1-0? I can ask you that question. So I don't think it's
not
out
just
of place.
losing, but losing and not playing.
Losing at home and playing
that's
the way
that's certain. You got knocked out at home.
Yes,
you know?
now
and
it's
for
just
me,
defecting.
I didn't expect them not to score a goal. You went away, you scored 3, and you know away goals rules still very much on Newcastle. So you scored 3 away from home.
And you could not monster one goal.
You know, the expectations was like, at least you're going to get on the score sheet in the first in the return fixture, playing in the home tie. But it was just sad in the end. But I mean, like you mentioned, the only positive maybe the $100,000 they will get in the end because
for just the participation,
for participation in the preliminary rounds. But
so how do you go 90 minutes as a coach in your home ground? You can't make changes that will make you score. I mean, I can fault you.
You know, and even though scoring 3 in Ghana surprised many of us because I mean, just 2 goals they've scored in the league this season, Kwara United, and it was on home soil. You know, one of the again, I think it was Kun Khalifa. They defeated by 2-0. So that's the only goal they've scored. And you went to Ghana, you scored 3 goals. So the confidence was really, really going to be high coming back to play. So even if it's just one,
just score one goal.
And you
think you are the only one tension. there are many journalists that came from Ilorin for that game too as well.
I heard the governor followed them to Ghana to watch that game.
There was so much support for the team going into this round.
I get it in the end. When you lose such game, emotions you tend to react angrily and stuff like that. But
don't go easy. You
have to be composed.
He's not trying to shift the blame on innocent journalists that are just doing their job.
But one thing for me, I don't know why big teams tend to play in the preliminary rounds in CAF competitions. You know, the Mamelodi Sundowns, league winners, maybe coefficient, but when you see Asante Kotoko now, we face Wydad in the next round, another one of the big teams that played in the Club World Cup as well. So seeing such teams in the preliminary rounds just sounds somehow to me. I don't know. Maybe something they will look at in the future.
But we've always clapped
so imagine Kwara United going past Asante Kotoko now going to face Wydad.
And say for instance, if they had beaten Wydad will not get to play in the group stage.
Just like this way now, we stand in the way of not seeing a Mamelodi Sundowns
in the
and these are the things you want to see clash in the competition
itself. So some of the things that is still questionable in the format in which CAF organizes those games. But talking about that, let's move away from that to come to our home ground here, where in Ibadan the Falconets dispatched Rwanda by 4-0, and of course on aggregate it was 5-0 and qualified for the next round. It's also in qualifying series, next round of the Under-20 Women's World Cup. But that's not why we're talking. Briefly, we want to talk about the fact that the governor of the state who played chief host for that game, remember it was played at Lekon Salami Stadium, Madam Asigba, Governor Seyi Makinde, in motivation for the teams, normally giving the girls money, the Under-20 team was received by the captain of the side, Joy Ibokwe. That is not an issue. But the talking point is he also gave the Rwandan girls $10,000. And I'm asking the question that what does that mean? Because I mean, are you giving them for losing, or is it thanks for coming? Because something like this has happened before in the Nigerian footballing space, and that caused a lot of controversy as old as 2002. I was still in diapers then, but it happened. And it happened that the Ghanaian side that came to play in a World Cup qualifier against 2001, I think, a World Cup qualifier leading to 2002 World Cup, lost Nigeria by 3-0, and they got I think a $25,000 money given to them by Peter Odili. Then they received it, and then their fans were really angry, and even George Weah was said to have reported to FIFA saying that Nigeria bribed Ghana to lose. Now, in what sane sense does giving the Rwandans $10,000 play to you, Mikolo? How does it make sense? I understand you motivating your girls, but Rwanda, $10,000 taxpayers' money.
I'm trying to rationalize the decision.
I mean,
and it gives rooms for those kind of
thoughts, because I mean,
trying
not
to
just
paint
the fact that we beat them.
Yes, I'm also trying to paint possible scenarios in which his government and everybody had thought that was a very nice thing to do, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense sportsmanship wise. It doesn't make sense when it comes to like FIFA rules. I don't think you are allowed to do that. Hospitality, yes. Feeding, yes. But I don't think you are allowed to trade cash in such manner and reward an opposing team in that. It feels like match fixing, right? I feel like the ethics
because
of that.
We lost by a lone goal away. Got back here and we defended by 4 goals to nil. Not taking anything away from the girls.
For that. I am very sure there's going to be something in FIFA ethics for that. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. I think maybe the only saving grace might be probably because the money didn't come from the Footballing Federation. Probably if it had come from NFF, we'll probably be in hot soup right now if it was NFF that was dashing them money. Probably because a private citizen, not a private citizen.
It's a government official.
Yes, a government official. But I'm just saying that probably because it's not the Footballing Federation, but still doesn't make it right? We might not be in trouble because of the fact that it's probably not the NFF, but also when you now look at it from a Nigerian perspective, a taxpayer perspective,
the fact that you're going to pay more tax next year, you have to remember that.
What exactly is the motivation behind rewarding Rwanda? Like how? As how now?
maybe there's something that we don't know that we don't know that's
so guys,
no, let me tell you something. I genuinely feel like it was a spur of the moment thing, and the reason why it is annoying me that
because he has advisors.
Because of the fact that this spur of the moment is only allowed because you don't rate us. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just want to dash you money, but it's also I just want to dash you money is also happening because you don't rate us as Nigerians. Because if you feel like there's a backlash that's going to come, you will not just use your mouth to just announce that I just want to give Rwanda money. Do you understand? Are you guys getting my angle?
I get it.
I feel like it was not planned. It was a philanthropy, just spur of the moment
and
kind
the fact
of thing.
that he was happy the girls won in his house.
If it was a country that had
systems,
check and balance, you not going to even think about them saying I want to dash government money to Rwanda players.
Say for instance when Chelsea won the Club World Cup in the US and Trump at that moment, despite all his dramatics on stage, decided I want to give Chelsea so money. Like, where does it make sense?
Is
guys,
if you ask me, I think people from Rwanda wouldn't be too pleased with this if it happens. That's if they really
we've seen it happen with another country and because, they were not pleased.
I didn't request for this, so why I didn't tell you that.
It's very embarrassing. So the fact that our first goal came from something like an own goal.
So and we have passed them in the end.
Are you guys see the answer?
I had to ask that question. Like, guys,
I was watching highlight and I saw that first goal and I'm like, this goalkeeper, you're acting suspicious.
But it was good to see Ibadan host such game, but it was just out of place. It's something unprecedented.
It's unnecessary. Nigerian politicians are very funny.
Your opponents with such amount of money.
Guys,
what's it called?
Let us
you want people
know.
Rwanda vote for you for the next.
I don't know. Like from where to where now?
Please let's know. This is football, but you can't take away politics and ethics from football. So please let's know in the comment section what you feel about that cash gift that was given by the Oyo State Governor to the Rwandan side after losing by 4 goals to nil to Nigeria in the qualifying series for the Under-20 World Cup.
If you tell me you are taking care of their hospitality,
obviously you are their host. It's part of
you should be doing
all of that, food and all of that, and all of that. But why are you giving them money?
Guys, let us know in the comment section and we'll talk about if this thing spiral to something else. We'll talk about it in coming shows, and this is where we are going to pull the plug for the show, not Man United's manager's job, please.
We're finished show.
Or put the handbrakes on.
No.
Like pundits are telling Ateta, put the
Yes,
handbrakes
there's so much to look forward to this week. Remember to stay safe. Remember to stay sporty. Remember that when you are voting, vote responsibly. I know I'm telling you to register and collect my 200 naira if you use my promo code gliders.
And sorry, before
bet responsibly, and you must be 18.
Before you go, boxing lovers, there's chaos in the ring at the MK Abiola MJ Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos, so Nikon Stadium precisely. So if you love boxing, you can come watch some Independence Day, October 1st. So I think that's Wednesday. So it's late into the night. So just plan yourself. If you love boxing, enjoy. I'll be there. So I mean, it's gonna be fun.
Are you going to throw hands?
I think there should be like a section for we on the show.
I'm not going there to box, so please. I'm just part of the team doing the live production, a bit of commentaries as well. So yeah, just come enjoy.
All right. I mean, away from regular football, if you're not someone,
Champions League
will also be there. So yes, but happy Independence Day in advance, Nigeria 65.
Oh no.
Is it 65 now? 65.
Yeah.
This is 2025, so 65 years since independence, and we'll be expecting a public holiday. Somebody say power. Yeah, see you guys
95ers are dancing like this.
See you guys next week. Remember to subscribe if you've not, and if you've already subscribed, share this gospel that you've been seeing over the last couple of weeks and months. If you've been a day one subscriber, OG subscriber, I know you guys, I know your names. One of these, I'll give a special shout out to you guys on the show. Remember to share it with your friends, your family, and everyone that you know would enjoy what we're doing here. Till next time, it's still Euphoria. See you on the other side of September. That'll be October. Bye.
Peace.